Hello, for our group project, we created a plant-based whipped cream. So in this presentation, we're first going to go over the desired characteristics for the animal-based product. Next, we'll go over the plant ingredient selection. Then we'll talk about our manufacturing process, the physiochemical, functional, and sensory properties. And finally, we'll go over the nutritional profile.
All right, so now to get into the desired characteristics a little bit. So when planning for our plant-based whipped cream, we wanted to kind of look at the ingredients in traditional whipped cream, kind of think of some of the best qualities, and then figure out, okay, how can we emulate these characteristics? So like things such as, the taste and appearance, how can we emulate those, but in a plant-based version? So after doing some research, we figured out that classic whipped cream is typically made with cream, dairy milk, water, sugar, corn syrup, and then nitrous oxide for like the foaming out of the can part, and then also some different polysaccharides. So when thinking about the main important characteristics that we wanted to try to recreate, they included things such as the product being light and airy. So whipped cream, as you know, when you dispense it out of a can, it gets very puffy and it's very light. It's not a dense product. It's expandable, like I said, so it kind of builds on itself. It has soft peaks. It has a very soft and smooth texture. It's not lumpy or gritty. It's very smooth in your mouth. It's obviously very sweet. It's white. It's creamy. And when it goes into your mouth or when it sits on the plate for a while, it kind of melts and becomes a little bit more liquid. It also is relatively low calorie considering it's a very light and airy product.
For the plant ingredient selection for whipping cream, we are using the coconut cream and the pea protein. Because the whipping cream, we are using the oil in water emulsion to make into water in oil emulsion. So therefore, the fat content is really important. And the coconut cream contain enough fat, usually at least like 20%. Therefore, it's easy to make the whipping cream. And what's more, there are coconut oil in the coconut cream, which contain lauric acid. It can help with the blood cholesterol. It can increase the good cholesterol HDL and decrease the low density lipoprotein, the LDL, which is usually considered as the bad cholesterol. It can help with the overall blood cholesterol profile. And coconut cream also has nuts-like flavors. It's where it gives some sweetness to the products, and it can give the creamy texture. The color is one and opaque, which is similar with the color of the end product, the whipping cream. And also, we are using the pea protein in the product. The pea protein is extract from the Pisum sativum. It's usually the yellow and green peas. And the pea protein also contains albumins and globulins protein, which is similar with the one in the milk protein. So it will be helpful to making the whipping cream. It is also allergy friendly comparing with the soy protein, and it is also vegan friendly too. It can act as thickness and emulsifier. For the thickness, it can give like more viscosity to the product, and it can help stabilize the emulsion because it can serve as the surface between oil and the water. What's more, it also helps with the gelation, which can form good structure of the whipping cream. We are not using other grain milk or other grain products because the grain product usually contain high carbohydrate and less fat, which is hard to make desirable whipping cream. That is why we're choosing these two products, these two materials to making our product.
The next part of our products is the manufacturing process. Basically, the whipped cream gives the cream a soft and fluffy mouth feeling by whipping and stirring it to make the coalesced fat molecules in the cream be surrounded by air bubbles to create a stable framework. In this way, the volume of cream will become 2 times as the arranged cream, which makes the whipped cream fluffy. So the first step is processing the plant-based cream. In our product, we use coconut oil and plant protein to make the emulsion. The emulsion is made from 2 parts, the water phase and oil phase. In the water phase, we add bean proteins as our plant protein, sweeteners, vanilla flavors, emulsifier, and preservative. And for the coconut oil, we do the hydrogenation process to solidify them at first, and then warm it to make it liquid. Then the water phase and oil phase will be mixed slowly with stirring. Next, we cool down the mixture rapidly to avoid the production of large crystals. After cooling, the mixture will be rolled and kneaded. Then we can get the coconut cream. And the final step is whipping and stirring the cream. After that, we can get the coconut whipped cream.
So our coconut whipped cream is going to be mostly coconut cream, which is 5 to 10% protein. And these proteins are mostly albumin, which are water soluble, and globulin, which are not soluble in water. So any of these undissolved proteins are going to act as emulsifying agents to help thicken our coconut cream. However, while it will be thickened, it's not a super strong gel. If we look to our images down here on the right, what we want is these traditional looking whipped cream peaks. But what we typically get when we make a coconut whipped cream is something like this, which looks a little bit more like a sour cream, kind of flat, doesn't have those peaks. So we're hoping that if we add some pea proteins, it will help give us these more traditional looking peaks. So our pea proteins are going to be added using coconut oil emulsions to help keep that coconut flavor. The pea proteins that we're using are globular, which means that they will be able to adsorb to the oil-air interface as we're whipping our cream and adding air into that mixture. And that's going to help give us that fluffy texture that we want. Pea proteins are gelling agents that form particulate gels, which are opaque and irreversible. And we're hoping that this gelling will help give us more structure and help to give us these more traditional peaks in our whipped cream. What will help with this is sucralose. So instead of using sugar, we want to keep our whipped cream low calorie. So we're using sucralose, which is an artificial sweetener that has no calories. And that's because its hydroxyl groups are chlorinated, so our bodies don't process them. We chose sucralose because this artificial sweetener does not have a bitter aftertaste, which would be undesirable for this sweet product. Sucralose also acts as a bulking agent, which will help us to bulk up our coconut cream before we whip it.
So now to talk about nutrition, we really wanted this product, to be suitable for vegans and also lactose intolerant people, which is some of the benefits of making something plant-based. So just to touch upon a couple of the main beneficial ingredients, of course, whipped cream, it's not supposed to be a health food. It's not something that is recommended to eat every day, but we did want to make our product a little bit more friendly for the consumer. So some of the main beneficial ingredients are coconut cream, pea protein, sucralose, and coconut oil. So basically, our product is actually going to be a low calorie and low sugar product. And since we used coconut, it's going to provide the consumer with some vitamins and minerals. So potassium, vitamin C, and vitamin E, which is great, which you're not, typically getting from a dairy version. Dairy, another thing that we know about coconut is that it can actually raise your HDL, which is your good cholesterol. It has essential fatty acids, and it really allows things to have that creamy texture, familiar to dairy. We're using pea protein to help with things such as like emulsion and other structural things. But however, it will provide the 9 essential amino acids that people need in their diet, which is another great benefit of our product. And then lastly, instead of using cane sugar, we're going to opt for sucralose, which is basically and a different version. It's not a true sugar, it's a artificial sweetener, and this will reduce the caloric intake for the consumer, but it'll keep that familiar sweet taste, but it's better for people who have diabetes or just watching their sugar intake. And we wanted to thank you guys so much for listening to our product and listening to us talk about what we have that we've come up with. And here are a few quick references. Thank you.